And if you're just now tuning in, do us a favor and hit that like and share button and join us in the comment section. You are live here in the Sit Down, presented by Duff's Famous Wings and BuffaloSauceGod.com, hosted by the Sauce God, featuring Ramparts Hockey and Kirby, a.k.a. Big Chungus, representing the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you're just now tuning in and you have not already done so before, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe, and turn those notifications on so you never miss the live version of the Sit Down, which is available via audio podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well the following day. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We have a jam-packed show for you. Everything with your Buffalo Bills, NFL, the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup, and much, much more right here in the Sit Down. Yes, here we are live in the Sit Down. We're back. It is the Sauce God right here on Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter, with Ramparts Hockey and Big Chungus. So let's start off. Tyler, how you doing on this fine Thursday evening here in the Sit Down?
You already know me, buddy. I'm ignoring that crackling. I'm kind of, just trying to relax this weekend,
Exactly, trying to catch those vibes. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we have our guy Kirby, aka Big Chungus, who's actually having some technical issues with his Wi-Fi and whatnot. So if you see him popping in and out of the show, don't worry, ladies and gents. Kirby, how are you doing on this fine Thursday here in the Sit Down?
I'm going to probably sound like a robot saying this. I don't know if you guys can hear me too well.
Right at the start. That's fantastic.
Yeah, right at the start. I love it. Kirby, so I know that your Wi-Fi and your technical issues that got you popping in and out, so don't worry, we'll bear with it. The folks out there can be patient with you. But a little quick message from former Buffalo Bills receiver, Stevie Johnson.
Yo, what's good, Bills Mafia? It's Stevie Johnson, and you're in the
Yeah,
down with my man.
dude, I can thank Elon Musk for this. We got
Go Bills.
freaking Starlink over here.
What's good, Bills Mafia? It's Stevie Johnson, and you're in the sit down with my man Sauce God.
I'm dying. All right, so that was Stevie Johnson, and of course, he said you're live here in the Sit Down. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, hit that like and share button. It's Sauce God, Rampart.
All right, buddy, it's just me and you this time. It's throwing me off, dude. Me and you this time. Let's go.
The Sit Down intro video right here in Facebook, YouTube, and X.
Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's simple, baby. Buffalo Bills football is heck, all right? And we tell you something.
I'm gonna crack a cold one since it's a tailgate.
Ooh, ice cold, Mike. Let me tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are live here in the Sit Down with Sauce God, a sports and entertainment show.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with guard. Your mama, you holding your pennies and bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, you taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stomping the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving in signs, but now we starting to riot. Yeah, keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be blessing, I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave, I'm rapping incredible, splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce, kicking the door. But then we been here before. She ain't involved, well, she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even if down, we tying the score. Do your dance and now twist, don't stress, don't trip. Whipping sauce real quick, stay dripping, sipping on cognac, roll tea in my veins, but you find that I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy.
How you doing it?
I'm twisting and mixing and shaking them haters right off me.
What you doing?
So before I bring Kirby back in, I'm going to make sure that his connection is stable. We're going to have him backstage holding on. So Kirby, I know you can hear me. If you can hear me and everything is working loud and clear, we'll bring you back in. But it's the Sauce God and Rampart. So Rampart, how are you doing, brother? Talk to me.
Oh, man, let's start it over a second time. Buddy, I've been doing well, you know what I mean? Golf's been going real good. Fishing's been going decent. So, I mean, I'm always in a good mood when I'm around my buddy Sauce. So let's go, boy.
Well, I just got back from vacation, took a little vacation out to Las Vegas, Nevada, and, came back with some money in my pocket still, so that's a good thing. But, there's obviously not too much news in the world of the NFL other than the fact that it's OTAs, and we did actually have a recent press conference from former Buffalo Bills receiver Stefon Diggs, his first press conference with the Houston Texans. and he got a chance to talk about his situation, what he thinks of the new team. There's about a 2-minute clip that we're going to play here in just a moment, and we're going to talk about what we think of it, because some people perceived it as if he were basically saying I made a mistake, or some people were kind of saying that maybe he's just saying the right things. We're going to give you guys our take right here in the sit down, but if you haven't already done so, do us a favor, hit that like and share. Join us right here in the comments. If you're watching on X or Twitter, known as Twitter, make sure you can come on over to the YouTube channel at Buffalo Sauce Guy for the social medias. Make sure you're following, like, and subscribe with those notifications turned on. If you don't catch the live version of the Sit Down podcast on Thursdays, you can catch it on audio podcast via Spotify and Apple Podcasts the following day. So Tyler, real fast, we're gonna play this little clip here, because I really think, Stefon Diggs, I've been very critical of, obviously, and we've all been critical of him here. But I think one thing is for certain is that we know he's a winner. We know he's a great player, but are we a little disappointed? Perhaps. Some of the things that he says right here, though, we're going to kind of discuss and give you guys what we think about it. And I'm curious as to what you guys out there watching as well thought of Stefon Diggs' recent comments about the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen.
Yeah, top 4 in receiving yards, touchdowns, everything in that aspect. And obviously, you get traded. So what kind of went through your mind when you were traded?
I mean, for me, I got trying not to get too personal, but I kind of felt it was going in that direction. Like, throughout the season, it had some ups and downs, especially after the first 8. We had coaching shifting and different things going different ways, different scheme-wise, schematic, and, the ups and downs of it. But for me, I kind of, you kind of feel it in the air a little bit, especially, personal feelings. But for me, when I got traded, obviously, I was happy. I was in a good place. Like I said, I told God to light my path, and here I am. So he makes no mistakes. I'm standing firm in that. I'm standing strong. So when I say I've been smiling, I've been smiling.
Josh Allen said that you were very instrumental into making him the quarterback that he was, that he is now. How instrumental do you think Josh was to helping you elevate to the next level of receiver that you ended up becoming?
I feel like he was a intricate piece in my career, because at that point, when I left Minnesota or whatever, I presume I was a good player, but I always felt more for myself. I felt like I was better than that, that I could be better than that. And I kind of, up to that point, I was just like, shit, I'm going to roll the dice and bet on myself. And he sent me to Buffalo. I don't know if they sent me to Buffalo with the most kindest, with the most great intent, but all's well ends well. When I got to Buffalo, Josh is still my guy, people don't really understand what it's like to be out there, And he really embraced me, He kind of had that Southern hospitality, So for me, he embraced me, spent a lot of time, and I probably wouldn't be right here if it wasn't for him. So, I got a lot of love for that boy. So y'all give him a hug and a kiss for me.
So immediately, he talks about the ups and the downs to the first 8 games. Obviously, we know the offense was incredibly inconsistent with Ken Dorsey at the offensive coordinator position, and that's why he was ultimately let go during the middle of the season and then replaced by Joe Brady, who came in and didn't necessarily utilize Stefon Diggs in the same way that he had been used in his prior seasons with the Buffalo Bills, to where he was just literally a 10 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown kind of guy in most of his games. And don't get me wrong, he had a great first 10 games of the season this last year. And Kirby, by the way, if you're good, I think you said he's good. I think you got to turn your camera back on. But
bring it in.
Basically, what I'm thinking is that Stefon Diggs is kind of just saying, my lack of production in the last half of the season was just because of the ups and downs. No, Stefon Diggs started to make more mistakes in the second half of the season. I'm not talking about the fact that he didn't necessarily get the catch, because yes, he does see a lot of double coverage, and I understand what that entails, but I'm talking about the drop passes. I'm talking about the ones that were for sure things, and also the fumbles and stuff that started happening that we didn't necessarily see a lot from him in his prior few seasons with the Buffalo Bills. Tyler, what did you think of the first part of what Stefon Diggs had to say about basically that he kind of felt that was the direction that the Buffalo Bills were ultimately going to go in this offseason?
And let me talk from this perspective here, right? Because now we're looking at the last season. This is really the offseason. We're starting OTAs. Everybody's getting back in shape. This is when it's starting to go, right? Now, the one things I will say about the Houston Texans is they have a quarterback and he's cheap. So now when you pay Josh Allen, okay, that's why you get the guys like, the Claypools of the worlds, and you get guys that can block for your running backs, and you play football. Like what we're playing now, hockey hits harder than football. So that's all I got to say there, buddy, old pal Sauce, and we're going to keep it moving because, like I said, he said second part.
I think ultimately what he says there in the second part of that is just, speaking the truth, because obviously him and Josh Allen did have an incredible on-field chemistry and off-field brotherhood type of thing, but we did see part of that start to disappear in the last season and a half for the Buffalo Bills. I think that Stefon Diggs grew frustrated because he felt that they had the team and the talent. Yes, and I understand that, but my whole issue is when we came to him to make the all-world play, a play that could literally vault you into the legendary status of getting the Buffalo Bills possibly into the Super Bowl by making that catch against Kansas City, and he doesn't, right? So here's my problem with that, is that you can be frustrated. But when we come to you, you got to show up and you got to make the play. Now, I think Stefon Diggs he's obviously happy with the situation. He's going into Houston, a quarterback that I have a ton of respect for. CJ Stroud, he was just recently asked, actually, would you rather have Eli Manning's career or Aaron Rodgers? A lot of people would immediately say Aaron Rodgers, but Eli Manning had 2 Super Bowls versus Aaron Rodgers has 1, and they were over Tom Brady. And that says a lot to me about the young man's character. I do think, though, it's hard to mesh in with something that's already working. You know what I mean? It's like all the talk that the Bills Mafia had about bringing DeAndre Hopkins or trading for this guy, that guy. You can't necessarily do that. You have to work with the guys you have and spread the football around evenly so you can keep people happy, so you can move the ball efficiently and fluently and steadily. And that's why the Buffalo Bills in the second half of the season play better offense, because one of the best games that they had offensively was James Cook and the running game. And Josh Allen had 60 yards passing. But that's what I'm saying. It's all about the guys that you do have on the field. You have to, if you're going to sit there and say, I'm glad about this situation, cool. But don't forget to say, I made some serious mistakes there too that I wish I could have had back, because I didn't hear none of that. I appreciate the love that he had for Stefon Diggs. Kirby, glad that you're back here joining with us. Of course, our Florida representative of the Jacksonville Jaguars affiliate. By the way, man, you got to be excited about Gabe Davis coming over to the Jags. I've seen some videos of him in OTAs. He's looking all right.
Oh, yeah, he's looking sharp, dude, and I'm glad to be back, dude. It's been a minute.
Kirby, what's the latest on the Trevor Lawrence extension?
I don't know. I feel like he's going to get it.
I mean, he deserves
you got
it.
ETN over there. You're all right.
He definitely deserves it. That's something that I'm not going to sit here and debate one bit. I think
he's a good player. I'll give him. He's lengthy, so, and he's always just gonna. I'm telling you right now, the Jaguars can give the Houston Texans, speaking of Stefon Diggs, a run for it, because like we were saying before, Sauce, was the second part. Was Joe Brady distracted? No. Because let me ask you a question. Those play calls were atrocious. I mean, that's unbelievable. Come on, you got to swing pass, get it open. Like, you ain't got to do all this shit. Like, do this post up, and then your guy slips, and then it's a pick. Like, come on, dude. That's terrible in London. Bolster up.
You got to bolster the fuck up. You already know. But, hey, if you guys haven't already done so and you're just now tuning in live here with Sauce God, Kirby, and Ramparts Hockey in the sit-down presented by Duff's Famous Wings at BuffaloSauceGod.com right here on Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter at 617. If you haven't already done so, join us here in the comments as well. We're still talking Buffalo Bills. We're talking Stefon Diggs and NFL. We've got tons to talk about here in the show, so don't go anywhere just yet. If you're not already done so, too, make sure you're subscribed, following, and like with your notifications turned on. But if you can't catch the live version of the sit-down on Thursdays, you can catch it via audio podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts the following day. So you Chitros, you're right here with Sauce, Rampart, and we're talking a little bit about Stefon Diggs. Kirby, what do you feel about Stefon Diggs coming over to the Houston Texans? About, obviously he's in your division now. Do you think it's something that is going to make them scarier, or do you think it's something that's going to kind of mesh or kind of mix up their chemistry that they already have?
I'd say both, honestly. He's a great player. He's a tremendous player. And, honestly, from an outside perspective looking in, I can't doubt that he is a good player. I've seen the performances, the stellar performances, right? But just a slight little bit of a diva aspect about him. I mean, that's definitely one of his attributes. And, you know, when he would like say, I need to have the ball, Josh Allen forces the ball to him. He's begging for it the whole play. And then, you know, it turns into an interception or, what have you. There's an example, okay? And then we know what the last play was like with him. Once again, begging for the ball. And what happened? I mean, that's ending on a sour note. But I will say the work and the performance he put in with Josh Allen, watching those two together on Sundays was exciting even for me. And I'm not a Bills fan, you know. I mean, there was no doubt they were making tremendous plays.
He is an elite receiver, and I'm not going to ever take that away from him. He's all pro level when he's producing, and he's had some big plays in his career. I mean, the walk-off for Minnesota was one of the fucking plays that comes to mind for me. Obviously, Tyler, you know a little bit about that situation as well. As a Saints fan, had to throw that at you. But, again, it's all about the attitude. So I want to talk about the attitude of the current Buffalo Bills receivers that are actually, you know, at OTAs. Listen, I'm a guy that believes when you work with certain people because they were in that franchise, you go to the old school vets, it says something good. We all know Keon Coleman has reached out to Andre Reed. Andre Reed meets up with him with that yellow puffy jacket on, you know what I mean, to show him some respect in return. And that's acknowledging the greatest Buffalo Bills receiver that there's ever been, Andre Reed. You know what I mean? The guy's Hall of Fame. And then you've got Khalil Shakir, who's working with Eric Moulds, one of the more talented receivers in Buffalo Bills history. I like what I'm seeing out of the rookie, Keon Coleman, yes, but I love what I'm seeing from Chase Claypool and Justin Shorter. Justin Shorter, a lot of people forget, came out of Florida, had some injuries, and he didn't play last year. He was on the injured reserve type rookie bullshit. I don't know how that works, but the kid is massive. He's like 6'4", 225. You pair that with Keon Coleman's size. Then you got Chase Claypool, who's like 6'5", 235. And Chase Claypool, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's with the better quarterback, better organization. But sometimes you got to be somewhere similar to what home was for you. And he did have some moments in Pittsburgh. Buffalo's a lot like Pittsburgh, blue-collar town. You know what I mean? Not exactly the greatest nightlife per se, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you need a true fan base. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a true fan base. I'll never say that. Sorry, what do you got?
Now, what I want to say here, because I want to bring them up, is that Khalil Shakir has learned a lot of what he knows from Stefon Diggs. I think Khalil Shakir is going to be a franchise-type, really good player. Because you know why? He's not scared to get physical in flag football. Because that's what we're playing here. Like, this is ridiculous. We got Matt Milano coming back. Like, he's a good ball player. Y'all got the other Josh Allen. So let's get after it and play fucking football.
Exactly.
Amen, dude.
Here's the thing, man. I'm excited for football season, but it's kind of a weird time of year where we have baseball currently going on. But we're about to step into the NBA Finals tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Mavs versus the Celtics. And then we also have the Stanley Cup, which is going to take place Saturday. Now, I want to say something because I know Kirby's not the biggest hockey guy. But,
Go Panthers.
Technically the state of Florida has represented in the eastern part of the finals, I think, the last 5 years. The state of Florida, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers. That's saying something, right? Yep. Obviously, Tyra knows a little bit about hockey. Obviously, Tyra knows that I'm a big fan of Connor McDavid, and I'm hoping, even though the coach for Edmonton has said some things about the prior Stanley Cup experience matter, just ask the Buffalo Bills, like, fuck you, but still, go Edmonton. Tyra, let's jump in a little bit of NHL talk. We'll come back to some NFL.
Oh, you're really trying to get me fired up here there, pal. Remember, guys, medium is hot. All right, so
Duff's famous wings. Right there. That's an ad.
Obviously, we know what the Florida Panthers bring to the table. You know, a guy like I was pretty upset when we got rid of him, Sam Reinhart. You know, I thought Sam Reinhart, I mean, he needed to grow, and he's kind of where we're at now with the team. But now we got other guys that got to be like that with the team, right? So let me bring it all back here. A guy like Kyle Okposo, who did absolutely nothing but wear his heart on his sleeve, man. He tried as hard as he could to play hockey. So Kyle Okposo, I love you, dog. But anyways, back to the Stanley Cup matchup. So that, man, dude, what a matchup.
In this,
like,
by the way, a lot of former Buffalo Sabres are in this Stanley Cup. It's a little fucking
But
crazy.
let me talk about this, though, Sauce, because you got guys like Darnell Nurse, right? He's on the other side of that ice. You know, Edmonton, they did something I really, really loved a couple years back. And it's kind of a slept-on thing. They brought a guy like Duncan Keith to their franchise. Not to play, to learn. You know, a guy like Julian Edelman needs Wes Welker to learn. You know what I mean? So this Stanley Cup play, man, it's just too good. Finals. And honestly, I hope the best for each team. I hope everybody stays injured-free. And I hope it's a wonderful batch of games because I'm excited for sports like this. I don't know about you guys, but I get fired up about sports. So for me, you know, I think about the 2011 Mavericks. You know, you got a guy like
the road that the 2011 Mavs had to go to get to the NBA Finals and then win the NBA Finals. That is fucking crazy when you look at it.
And that's kind of the same way they were this year, right? They go through, they beat OKC.
Oh yeah.
Then they're gonna go. Minnesota was hooping now. They was good.
Minnesota was fucking balling. Ant-Man honestly was a fucking dog with the whole playoffs.
But I want to bring something back here too, right? Because Kyrie Irving to me is the most gifted basketball player I think I've ever seen, right? So I know people say Allen Iverson and Michael Jordan was smooth. Kobe Bryant, he was smooth. But Kyrie Irving took it to heart, dude. And it hurt Kyrie Irving. So I think Kyrie Irving's going to come out here on this basketball floor with some remarks this series.
So, Kirby, let's talk about the NBA Finals. Earlier you texted me, you said go Mavs. Now, what do you think is going to happen in this series? How many games? Talk to me a little bit what you're thinking.
All right. So it's so 50-50 with me right now. I mean, he's talking about Kyrie, yes. Big factor. Him and Luka, they're like the big two over there. However, I feel like as
super large two.
Yeah, now it ain't just Josh Smith and Al Harrington now. It's Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic.
Right. No, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. But the depth, you know, that Boston has, both as starters and on the bench, the way that they play, they're physical, they score. You know,
see the way I look at Boston,
2 players, but I'm not putting it past them. I'm rooting for the Mavs hard. Yeah.
Well-oiled machine is the Boston Celtics. You know, they got guys like Peyton Pritchard on that floor that's going to space it out for them. You know, it's not all just
Derek
Al
White,
Horford.
You know what I mean?
You got to do it. Like, you're here. Why not do it? Like, come on now.
The
Brett Hall's
only
foot
thing
was
I'll
in
say
the crate.
about the Celtics,
Let's go.
Is as stacked as they are, and it looks like Kristaps Porzingis is expected to play tonight, which will be his first game since like late April. That's a big part of the series too, because that's a guy that can come out and give you 15 and 10 and a couple block shots and knock down the fucking 3, right? But I'll say this too, that Boston, the pressure's on them, because all this talk with Jason Tatum, everybody's talking about him and how he's got to play. Nobody's fucking talking about pressure on the Mavericks because the Mavericks ain't even supposed to be here. They ain't even supposed to win with Kyrie and Luka. And I'll be honest, I was the person that said that they can't win together. There's just 2 guys that are – no. They are 2 closers that somehow know how to defer to one another and when to take the ball. But they're not – you don't see one another complaining about I got the ball too much or he's got the ball too much. It's just an evenly distributed thing. And that's the thing is the Mavs also are well coached with Jason Kidd. That's a guy that got Luka to start playing defense. That's a guy that got Kyrie Irving playing as one of the best perimeter defenders in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving's got that playoff experience. He's got that big game experience. He's got an NBA Finals under his belt, okay? He's played with a superstar, ball-dominant guy like LeBron James. He's playing with Luka right now, who is just – he's a winner, Luka. I mean, look, he takes Slovenia and basically almost wins a freaking gold medal with him. The guy is absolutely nuts. It's crazy to see that these 2, though, are honestly, if you look at them, size-wise, they're not the most athletic guys in the NBA whatsoever, but their skill, like Kyrie talked about Kyrie Irving's skill, ball handles are the best ever. But it's Stephen Curry after him and then Isaiah Thomas III, right? But Kyrie can knock down a shot from anywhere on the floor when you absolutely need it. He's the most clutch player in the NBA. That's the thing that I will say about Kyrie Irving. He's the most clutch player in the game today, the most like Kobe Bryant in the game today, in my opinion.
And you know why, though? Because, like, when Kyrie loses the ball, he doesn't just give up on the play, Sauce, because, like, he's after it, he's getting it back, it's on a string. That's why we say Kyrie Irving's got the best handles ever, because he can lose it, you think you can pluck him, and then he's just, between the legs, he's shading it from you, and then he gets set up again, pick and roll, Luka in the corner, Penny to Larry Bird, boom. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, and that's the way, like, the UConn Huskies kind of play, right? Because UConn in the NCAA tournament, if we can't just go back a little bit to, a couple months from away, like the way UConn was distributing the ball, like even their power forward was kind of like, no, I'm going to look and then you can have it. You know what I mean? Like it was just team ball. We ain't playing. It's the NBA Finals. That's all I'm going to say. So,
Crazy.
You got to.
I do believe, though, the Mavs have a chance of winning. I got to take Kirby here with the Mavs. Yeah. I think, though, it's the Celtics finals to lose. But Jaylen Brown is on another level, and I think it's possible, too, that Jaylen Brown might elevate his game even more to where it don't matter how well Jason Tatum plays. There's just all this talk about Jason Tatum and how he's got to perform. If he doesn't play well enough, it's going to be on it. That's a lot of pressure on a young man. You know what I'm saying? So we'll say that. Of course, the Stanley Cup Finals will take place starting Saturday. It is the longest distance in between two teams in the Stanley Cup at 2,500 miles. It's why it's so people are wondering why is it spaced out so many days. It's because they need time to travel from Canada all the way down to freaking Florida. So the Florida Panthers will take on the Edmonton Oilers. Currently, the Florida Panthers are favored to win, but I'm expecting Connor McDavid, who showed up really well in the conference finals, to elevate his game to get that first Stanley Cup, and I think Edmonton's going to take it. I think the Mavs are going to take this NBA Finals. I think they're going to take it in 6 games. I think the Celtics are going to kind of come out weak tonight. I think that the Mavs are going to kind of come out and play a lot better. Kyrie Irving, and then Luka follows the leader. It doesn't matter. As long as they're knocking down shots, they're going to – I think they're going to win this game. Kirby, who do you think wins tonight? And give me a prediction, over or under 217.5 points.
I think over. At least I'm currently betting over. I think over. Man, it's going to be a close one. I do think the Mavs can pull it off. And here's what I think. I think it's going to be a fantastic show by Kyrie and Luka, obviously. I think they win handedly, and then the Celtics have this funny thing that they do where they adjust. They adjust and they adjust. It's going to come down to game 7 for sure, a game 7. And that's 50-50 right there. But I am rooting for the Mavs.
I think this game is going to tell us a lot about what we need to know for the series. Tyler, who takes game 1 tonight, and over or under 217.5 points?
I'm going to go under. I think they're going to get like 215.
It's funny that the NBA playoffs are so much more low scoring than the regular season. You had over-unders at 260.5 in the fucking regular season. Now you're seeing back down to the 200s because you're seeing some great defense. And I'll be honest, man, what I'm seeing from Luka and Kyrie defensively has been impressive. So we talked a little bit about the Stanley Cup. We talked a little bit about the NBA Finals. Of course, we talked a little bit about the Buffalo Bills and the NFL. So overall, guys, it's going to be a crazy rest of the season for baseball because that's all we're going to have here for a couple months in just a few short weeks. We're not going to have more NBA. We're not going to have any more NHL, so we'll just have baseball. I'm sure that I don't know if there's soccer going on because I don't pay enough attention until it's on FanDuel, obviously. I'm sure that there's plenty of, overseas sports for people to watch if they can't get their dose. But, of course, we have the NFL season just about to kick off a mandatory minicamp here in the early part of June. The Buffalo Bills have wrapped up week 3 of the OTAs. The only rookie that has not signed his actual contract yet is Keon Coleman. I want to clear things up for people. It's not because he's holding out. It's not because of any issues. All rookie contracts are already preset in stone based on the collective bargaining agreement the NFL has with the players union. So it's just I don't know what it is, but it's nothing to worry about, nothing to be alarmed about. For everybody else in Buffalo Bills Mafia, the Buffalo Bills have seen some great things from rookie Keon Coleman. They've seen some great things out of rookie Cole Bishop and Dwayne Carter, whose stock has gone up as well. Chase Claypool's stock has risen, and a lot of people are talking about Dalton Kincaid coming up this year. I think, I heard some comments in the media, and I'm curious as to what Kirby thinks because obviously he's a Jags fan. You saw that we lost a lot of players. Emmanuel Acho, who's a big advocate for the freaking Miami Dolphins, comes out and says, Buffalo Bills fans, it's going to be one of your worst years in 5 years. There ain't much hope. Don't get excited. First off, we've been getting excited even when we missed the playoffs for 17 straight years, okay? So that ain't going to happen. But I think it's a clown thing to say that we shouldn't build up any hope because this team still has a franchise all-world quarterback in Josh Allen with several core players like Deion Dawkins on the offensive line, Rasul Douglas at defensive back. We're expecting to see better things from Kyer Lam coming into year 3 for the Buffalo Bills. Now you got Dalton Kincaid stepping in as a primary tight end in the offense in his second year, and all the experience he had as a rookie and what we've seen from him. We're seeing good things out of Khalil Shakir the offseason. We are seeing the Buffalo Bills are ready to go. The AFC East, you have the Miami Dolphins, sure. They just signed Jalen Waddle to an extension. You got the New Jersey Jets. Everybody's talking about them. I want to see Aaron Rodgers play a game before I get any hype built behind them. The Patriots have Drake May going deep. I shared a video on Facebook. It's like a 20-yard pass, and the guy's like jogging because it's like the ball wasn't even where it's supposed to be, and Patriots fans are getting excited about that. Kirby, do you think outside looking in, do the Buffalo Bills and Bills Mafia have hope and still have reason to believe they can win the AFC East and get a spot in the playoffs?
I definitely believe there's hope, and I don't
Right
see
answer.
it being a bad season for you guys. I mean, you got really young weapons, and it's like these players are better than. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's the hype, but it makes it seem like all the players in this draft class are just like, once again, tremendous talent. Yet it has to pan out. But Keon Coleman, phenomenal player. If I was any kind of Florida team fan, it would be Florida State. So you guys get him. He's going to fill the spot in for the loss of Diggs, and you guys are going to just pick up where you left off, maybe new and improved version. That's it.
See, this is my buddy Sam Pepe, who I'm so fucking happy he made a comment because he said Mavs in 6, which I agree with, Oilers in 6, which I agree with, and then he said Phillies in 4 because he's a fighting Phils fan. Phillies in a gentleman's sweep will give the Yankees a game. Thanks, Pap. I love you very much, but let's look back at 2009, the only matchup that we had in the World Series, and who took that one? But, hey, I know you guys got your appearance in the World Series a couple years ago, and the fighting Phils are at the top of the MLB alongside of the New York Yankees, who are playing incredibly well. They're playing against the Minnesota Twins again tonight. That takes place at 7 p.m. in Yankee Stadium. So, hey, I like what Pepe had to say there about the Mavs and the Oilers and the Phillies. Tyler, man, what do you think for baseball? What team is going to take the World Series this year?
The World Series? Oh, we're doing a prediction. The World Kansas City Royals. I don't know why, but
Kansas City Royals,
I feel like the Kansas City Royals. Yep, I feel like Witt Jr. is going to get it done.
By the way, Bobby Witt Jr. is pretty fucking phenomenal. Yank me's. Hey, Pep, I was just listening to Even Flow by Pearl Jam, and I sang it out loud for you. Freeze him, rest his head on a pillow made of concrete. I had to say it, of course. Love it, Pep. Hey, if you haven't already done so, ladies and gents, hit me with a like and a share. You're live here in the Sit Down, presented by Duff's Famous Wings and BuffaloSauce.com. Don't forget, when you go to Duff's, you don't got to ask for them to be extra crispy. And remember that medium is hot, like Tyler said earlier, my guy Rampart. We're joined here, Sauce God, Rampart's Hockey, and Kirby right here on Facebook and YouTube and X, formerly known as Twitter. Make sure you're liked and subscribed and following with those notifications turned on so you don't miss any of the live shows or any of the content or any of the updates for your Buffalo Bills and everything in the world of sports and entertainment. And this is, of course, live on Thursdays and available via audio podcast the following day on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts on Fridays after the show is aired. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate all the comments, likes, and shares. We've had some great talk about the Bills. We've talked about the Jaguars. Kirby, what's your Jaguars record prediction before we get out of the show?
Bills
Bills by $1 billion.
I think maybe slightly over 500.
Hey, I'm saying 10-7. The Jags will find a way to get to 10-7, and you guys will probably fight in the playoffs. Tyler, who do you think is going to drive Derek's car and take the New Orleans Saints? What record are they going to have? Drive Derek's car.
I'm going to say 7-10.
For a second, I thought you said 7-2. Like, yeah, they just stopped after 9 games. Said we got 7 wins. We're just gonna go with it.
They lose Stefon and just forfeit.
Hey, forgive me, man. It's 6:30. It's after a long week of work, and of course, a couple puffs. Tyler, I'm hoping the weather holds up so we can get out there golfing Saturday morning, and I'm hoping Timmy actually comes along with us. Kirby, it's too bad that you're not up here in Western New York to join us, but it's also too bad we're not down in Florida because those courses down in Florida are pretty nice. Everybody out there, thanks for tuning into the Sit Down. We're live here on Thursdays and available via audio podcast the following day, as I said before. This is presented by Duff's, BuffaloSauceGod.com, the home of Sauce God merchandise and everything for sports and entertainment. Make sure you guys tune in with us next Thursday as we talk everything Buffalo Bills, sports, and entertainment right here on Facebook, YouTube, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Thank you, everybody out there. God bless. Bada bing. And as always, go Bills.